Good afternoon. I'm Stormtracker Meteorologist Fred Campagna. It's about 2:30, and this is an update on Hurricane Bill, a Category 4 hurricane with winds of 135 miles per hour out in the Atlantic Ocean. Right now, no imminent threat to land as this storm appears that it will miss the Caribbean islands. That's certainly a good thing. Throw some huge waves their way, but not much more than that. Here's a look at the interactive storm tracker, hurricane tracker on ABC6hurricane.com. Notice how far from the center of this storm the tropical storm force winds are expanding from it. So a good, very good distance away from the center of the storm. We are going to take the clouds off. You can see the very good well-defined eye right now with this storm, as it is a powerful Category 4 hurricane. We'll zoom out a little bit and look at the Hurricane Center's latest projected track for the storm. It does take a turn to the north and then to the northeast, and according to the Hurricane Center's track, it misses southern New England by a pretty good distance. Misses. If we click out here and then click on, say, Boston, we're talking about a distance of 400 miles. So if it takes this exact line right here, then there will not be much of an impact at all in southeastern New England. But I think it's a little too early to say that we are in the clear as far as Bill is concerned, and one of the reasons why I'll show you in just a second, the computer projections that I'm seeing today, many of them have actually shifted farther to the west and closer to the southern New England coastline. Let's look at its track over the next couple of days. Actually, this dark red shading indicating that the storm will be a Category 4 hurricane, not just for one day, but for the better part of 4 days. As we go to Sunday, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's becoming a Category 3 hurricane with winds of 115 miles per hour. So this would be impressive if this storm maintained Category 4 status along this very long track. More than 1,000 miles it would be covering of ocean. And the ocean is very warm. There's not a lot of wind shear expected. Wind shear can have a negative impact and will have a negative impact on these hurricanes, but there's not much wind shear expected in the next couple of days. So the Hurricane Center feels that this storm can maintain or even slightly intensify from where it is right now. Let's throw those computer models on there, because at this stage of the game, have to keep a very close eye on those models and what they're projecting. Now notice there's the actual track. You see that the little icon spinning there, Sunday 8 a.m., right about where the mouse is right now. And notice all the different computer projections, many of them now to the left or to the west of the actual forecast track from the Hurricane Center. So this is something to watch very closely. I like to watch the trends with these computer models, and what they're doing is keeping the storm just a little bit farther south over the coming days, and then eventually that turn to the north happens a little bit more slowly, and it's rounded out, and the storm ultimately comes closer to the southern New England coastline. That is according to some of these computer projections. As we get in closer, you'll notice that there's a projection here which actually takes the storm within 50 miles of Nantucket, which would be a pretty significant weather event for the Cape and for the islands if a hurricane of this magnitude was to come that close to them. The worst part of the storm is actually to the east of the storm. So if the storm were tracking right here, the worst would be out over the ocean, but still, a storm this powerful with northeasterly winds and a lot of rain right on its northwestern flank would definitely have a major impact for the Cape and for the island. So anyone living in eastern Massachusetts needs to keep a real close eye on this storm, and it's almost at the point where you might want to start to think about, if you have a boat in the water, making some plans on Saturday to get that boat out of the water, or at least preliminary plans that you might need to follow through on. The storm would be a much greater distance from Providence, about 135 miles, so maybe not as big of an impact in Rhode Island, but southeastern Mass would have a big impact if the storm were to track as close to southern New England as some of these westernmost computer projections are indicating. So we're going to continue to keep an awfully close eye on Hurricane Bill as he continues to churn up the Atlantic Ocean. One thing that I think is for certain at this point is that we will see some strong waves and some high surf at the south coast of Rhode Island and southeastern Massachusetts, so rip current risk should be high over the weekend. The surfers will like it, but it will be dangerous to go in the water for anybody who is inexperienced.